terrific presentation, and I want to make sure we have time for that in full, and the panel and some back and forth afterwards. So let me just say very briefly, I'm Bob Turner, co-director of Commonwealth Compact. We're delighted to host these events. Both Georgiana Melendez and Gerardo Escalera send their greetings to you. Some of you have been to previous ones and have seen them more than me because I've been elsewhere. But it's a great group, and we're having a lot of fun. Let me just say, most of you I think know pretty much what Commonwealth Compact is all about. But in the context of what Phyllis is going to talk about, let me just say a couple of words. When Commonwealth Compact was just getting started, in fact, before we even had the name, we did a survey. Steve Crosby, the dean here, was getting this initiative moving. And one of the first things that happened was they did a survey of boards of directors of a lot of organizations around the state. It was a statewide survey, more than 300 organizations. And what a shock, particularly on the corporate side. 94% white, 87% male on the boards of directors. So the group that came together to form Commonwealth Compact was, I don't think, as I say, shocking but not surprising, and was eager to do something about this. But a lot of us in the group, too, wanted to make sure that we didn't focus just at the board or senior executive level, because, first of all, you can't change boards all that fast, and even if you could, the trickle-down effect in organizations would take too long. So we were very firm in wanting to look at organizations top to bottom and try to make and push for improvements along the way. And so the result of that was the benchmarks survey that some of your organizations have filled out as members of Commonwealth Compact. It's quite a detailed survey, but I'm not doing my graphics. This was the board report that was put out. And most of you, I can get copies of this. This is our latest report from the benchmark survey. And in the back it has the survey itself, which is fairly detailed and does measure quite a lot of workforce indicators. One thing we find, for instance, is that's useful in this context, for instance, just to pick a particular point of focus. In the healthcare industry generally, which is so big in this part, the overall level of employment of persons of color is pretty good. But if you look where they're working, very heavily concentrated at lower level jobs. So to improve that range of diversity so that you get distribution at better levels, one of the things you need to do is to think about mentoring people within your organization. That brings us to Phyllis and where we are today. I'm going to not take a lot of time introducing Phyllis. I left copies of her bio out on the table, and I have a couple of extras if people didn't have to pick them up. It's extraordinary, including some 5 years she spent in the Clinton administration in the education department, and a number of other activities that have led her to put together Conexión, which you all know about, and to be really one of the leading people in Boston now, trying to put the emphasis where it needs to be in improving our workforce for its own good, I have to say. I'm not sure everybody in Boston understands that totally, but in the global economy and the knowledge-based economy that we have in Boston, it's crucial that we reflect our own changing demographics and look outward to the world. Phyllis is helping with that, and without more detail of her own bio, again, it's on the sheet. Let me introduce Phyllis, and she will say a few words and introduce her panel and on with the program. Phyllis Barajas. Pleasure.
Well, hi, everybody. Thanks for coming. I'm not going to stand back here. And maybe, Anna, do you mind maybe just doing the slides? Anna's part of our team, so I'm going to introduce Anna Peralta-Kerr, who is a leadership development coach as well, and has her own practice called Shades of Success. And we met a number of years ago, and I'm very happy to say she's now working with us in Comisión. So I appreciate all of the great talent that she brings to this organization. We also have Ed Melia, who is with the Chief Talent Officer of Exemplar Resolve, and he is one of our mentors. And then Gonzalo Buico, who you're going to hear from the two of them a little later, is one of our mentees and is at Eastern Bank. He's Vice President for Markets at Eastern. So we're very happy to have both of them here to share their insights on mentoring across culture.
They'll be fine.
Can we just, because it's such a small group, why don't we just go around and just, if you would just tell us who you are and where you're from? And we're very happy to have all of you here. So why don't we start here by Ed? You want to introduce yourself? Yes.
It's like, I guess it's new. So
Yeah.
good news. This is Eddie Mills Crutcher, Wheaton College, senior mentoring consultant, did a doctorate focused on cross-cultural mentoring. So the subject is of interest to me, and I serve as the presidential spouse.
Oh, very good. Thank you.
And I'm Sandra Casey Buford. Was here last week. We are a Commonwealth signer, and I'm responsible for diversity and inclusion for the Massachusetts Port Authority. And just I'd like to just say a little bit about that, in that we own and operate 3 airports and all the Boston seaports.
Magdalena Kiplas, Passport Office of the Jersey.
Turner, Commonwealth Compact.
Shana Baez, a recent graduate of Harvard University Biophysician, which is former, and I'm a senior here at UMass Boston, currently working with them as a public.
Very good. So you know Dottie.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. So good to meet you. That's great. That's great. Congratulations.
Marcela Danech, and I graduated from my MBA last year from Boston, and I currently working as a co-chair for Women of Alpha. And so I'm here to learn for mentorship.
It's good to see you.
Georgiana Shepard with the Boston Higher Education Resource Center. I work with Boston's youth, young Latino, and help them get into college and university.
Becky Smith, I work at Career Collaborative, where I'm a career coach to a very diverse range of low-income adults who are looking for full-time permanent jobs in career progress. So I stay in touch with them for 2 years to make that career progress possible. I also run a mentoring program there, and I am volunteering with Phyllis and Anna at Connexion.
So thrilled to have you. Thank you.
Hi, excuse me, my name is Sharon Almeida. I'm the Director of Membership for the Massachusetts Association of Community Development Corporations. And we're a statewide organization with 88 members. Most of them are community development corporations in Boston, about 23 of them. And through that I run the Mel King Institute for Community Building, which is training. But I also run the Alliance Advancing Community Development by Environmentalism, which is a small title, or feed there, goal. And that's a sector approach to advancing leaders of color, professionals of color within community development, so they reflect the neighborhoods they serve. Within that, I run a mentoring program that pairs mid to senior level professionals with senior level professionals for 6 months to a year. So we had a little bit of we've done 3 cycles, and we had a little bit of a hiatus, and we're going to start back up in January, but I'm hoping we can kind of get some more information to continuation of that.
Oh, good. Do our best.
Hi, Antonio Belisarda. I'm president of the Society of Latino Engineers and Scientists here in the Boston area. We focus a great deal on educational outreach toward young people, encouraging them in math and science, engineering, and technology. We have a lot of very engaging activities for kids year-round. I also participate as vice chair of Metro North Regional Employment Board. Look at our workforce development to STEM, science, technology, engineering, and
Paul Martinez, I work in your laboratory, Vice President of Latino Engineers and Scientists. So, I work with professional working classes that work with the organization as well as and I'm also a current Connexion cohort mentee.
Phyllis, can I interrupt just
Sure.
very briefly to say two things? One is, I should have mentioned, I think most of you are familiar, Commonwealth Compact has a fairly new tool, the Talent Source database, which is available online, and we really encourage those of you individually and people you are working with who are in the job market or interested just in becoming part of the group that's looking for various opportunities, board positions, commission appointments, speaking engagements even. Talent Source database is really a tool that we hope will be useful. It's growing, and when we get to really a tipping point, we think a lot of employers are going to be turning to it to find talent of color. We think it's a tool that's, as far as we know, unique, and we hope will be very useful. So we encourage you all and the people you're working with to get onto it. The second thing is, it's pretty modest, but there are some soft drinks over here. Thanks.
These are all mine. I'll share.
I'm glad you cleared it up.
I have to say this thing about the Commonwealth Compact database, and I think it's important to know it's not solely if you're looking for a job. It really is for these other things. I have to say, when this thing came out in 2009, that report that Bob mentioned earlier, I went nuts because in terms of the Latino demographic, presence on boards, it was 0.04. I sent that to, I think, everybody I knew at this 09. I was just beside myself. This is completely unacceptable, given our presence in the general population that in the greater Boston area is 0.04. It's not even 1%. I mean, it was just pathetic. So I would encourage, you to get out there and get more visible in terms of boards and directors and other things. So I'm going to go through a few slides. We'd like to be thinking about questions. We're going to have our panels are going to share with you their experiences as well. So, be ready, have your questions ready in terms of what you'd like to ask questions of us. We've been Conexión has been around now. This is as Robert mentioned, this is our 6th cohort. We're very, very excited about it. Our particular program, Conexión, targets mid-career Latino professionals, people with a minimum of 10 years professional experience, and that's who we recruit to be in Conexión. It's a 10-month program. We meet monthly. We have topics related to leadership, so it's a group experience. We encourage peer-to-peer mentoring and so forth. In addition, we're very proud of this because there aren't that many programs that focus on this demographic to begin with nationally. We're one of the few that also include one-on-one mentoring. And I'll say a little bit more about how I do the matches because I do this little presentation in a lot of different places. People always say, how do you do the mentoring? Because I'm actually pretty good at it. I always tell people that soy and a bruja, and I said I'm a Mexican witch, and it doesn't hurt. So there. I rarely, have a mismatch, and we'll talk more about that later. But I do think it is something that you can teach other people how to make really good matches. So we're going to talk about that. So Anna, why don't we just go ahead and go on? We've all alluded to this. So we put a few stats up. I'm sure all familiar with this, that more and more cities are becoming majority-minority cities, and Boston is no exception. One of the statistics that we found is 53% of the population in Boston is non-white and Hispanic, and 47% is white, non-Hispanic. So we're very typical of what the U.S. Census is telling us about who is really increasingly going to be in that pipeline of talent. Traditionally we've talked about mentor-mentee matches, and traditionally it's been an assumption about majority culture mentor was a majority culture mentee. And frequently you're talking about people at the executive level, VP level, who are mentoring both an in-house program or like our program, a freestanding program. But they're frequently people that are in that older demographic, maybe over 50, who volunteer to be mentors. And then the mentees are frequently, and this is true for many, many, many organizations. I work for, a publishing house here in Massachusetts, and when I was National Director of Human Resources, we had almost no, in this publishing, almost no people of color above the midpoint in that organization. They were mostly in the lower and entry-level jobs. At the executive level, reporting to the president of the company, they were all men except for one woman who was our CFO, and you want to guess what job our African-American executive had? Just take a wild guess. Not quite, you're close, HR. We were in the kind of typical place that you would find, women and minorities. So as we're seeing more and more women and minorities entering the workforce, we have to really reassess how we think about mentoring, doing mentoring programs.